What is going on, guys? So in today's video, we are starting the 10th part in the GSC scripting series. If you haven't seen the previous videos, go ahead and check them out because you're going to need the code from those videos for today. If you have watched the previous videos all the way up to this point, you're insane. I can't believe that anybody would actually watch 10 scripting videos from me, but you did, so thank you for your support. You guys are going to need the most recent version of my GSC utility. If you haven't got it, go ahead and download it. The link will be in the description below. Today we're going to be working on submenus. If you know from any menu you've ever used, you've probably noticed that they don't have all the options in the main menu, right? You have submenus which you can go into and have options. So the goal of today is to go ahead and set that up for our menu-based structure. And it's actually going to be pretty simple. So the first thing we want to go ahead and do is go into our add menu and add option functions, because these are going to need to have a tiny change. In add menu, we are going to return menu, and in add option, we are going to return option. If you don't remember what return does, return is basically going to take whatever the variable is that you tell it to return and pass it outside of the function. And we are going to use that in our add submenu function. Go ahead and go below add option, add submenu, right here. Parent, new ID, new name. We don't need any defaults for this one because we're already going to have them in the add menu function. Then we're going to do menu equals add menu, parent, new ID, new name. And now you can see why we needed the return, because we need this menu that we pass to go ahead and go in here. And this is basically just to take a shortcut so we don't have to rewrite any of the logic for this function because it's already done in here. So that return saved us a lot of code, believe it or not. Option equals add option, menu.m. Menu.m is actually the parent menu of this menu. Menu.o is the text for the menu, aka the title. Then we're going to do our two colons. If you remember, this is called a function reference. Exec menu is a function we haven't written yet, but we will write in a minute. Menu.I is the ID of the menu that we're doing. So this is basically allowing us to add a new submenu and add the option all at the same time. If you guys remember from things like Sharkspace, you would always have to do add menu and add option. And I'm just condensing that into one function because it's a lot cleaner, and you're a lot less likely to run into an issue where you added one or the other and you need to add the other. So this is just generally good practice at this point. We're going to return the option to keep things consistent because all of our other add functions return their structure and we might need it in the future. Next, we're going to do our exec menu function. And the only parameter we need is the menu that we want to exec. Exec is just short for execute. This function doesn't have any naming for any particular reason, but it's just how I wanted to do it. Just as a review, this function pointer is basically saying that we want to pass this function as a variable for our add option to run. So whenever we click the submenu, it's going to run this function right here like it's an option, and this function is actually going to draw our menu. If not is defined menu, actually, we don't have to do this. We can do it like this. Menu equals self get menu.m. That is going to go ahead and put the default menu to be our parent menu. So that basically means if we don't pass a parameter to this, it's going to by default go back a menu instead of going forward a menu. Then we'll say if not is defined menu or menu is equal to none, aka the menu's closed, self set menu open false, meaning we don't want the menu to be open, and we'll just go ahead and return so we don't execute anything below this. Self.submenu equals menu. This is telling us, or telling our menu base that we now are in a different submenu, and we will call draw menu, which is a new function we are going to add. So if you remember, we do all our drawing inside of set menu open. We actually are going to change this because this code we would have to basically rewrite the exact same way, which is pointless. In programming, it's a very bad idea to rewrite the same code twice for the majority of things, because when you have to update one piece of code, you have to go and update it everywhere else you reused it, and that's the point of functions. So we're going to go ahead and take all this and just go ahead and cut it and add a new function called draw menu and paste it in here. Let's go ahead and shift tab. By the way, I didn't mention this in the last video. If you want to realign things, you can press shift tab to put it back to the left, or you can press tab to put it over to the right. Let's go ahead and call up here self erase menu, which is another function we're going to add. And this function, as the name suggests, is going to erase the menu from the screen. And I'm sure you probably already picked up that we're going to go ahead and cut that and paste that in here. Go ahead and highlight this shift tab to make it nice and pretty. And we will go ahead and call self erase menu right here. And we will call self draw menu right here. We can go ahead and remove this call. This is unnecessary now. And we now have a nice little drawing function. Wow, my screen just did a really weird glitchy thing. I hope that didn't happen on the video. Alright, so now we want to go ahead and test our submenu. Yep, it was that easy. We have submenus working now. Let's go ahead and call add submenu. And let's go ahead and add it. The parent menu is going to be the main menu. The new ID is going to be submenu, all lowercase. These do have to match whenever you're adding them, by the way. These are case sensitive. And the option text is going to be submenu 0. You can call it whatever you want. Then we are going to go ahead and change these options to be added to this submenu. So I'm going to change this main to submenu. And I'm going to go ahead and tab this over 1. It's an organization thing that I do personally. You don't have to do this. It's not going to change the way the code runs in any way. I just like to keep things organized by their submenu because it becomes a lot easier when you start to have a lot of options to tell where things are and what they're part of. Alright, so that looks like we should be good. Let me go ahead and check the syntax. Syntax looks good. I'm going to go ahead and inject. Our menu base is currently only 3.36 of max size, which is great, because that means you have a whole nother 96.7 or 96.64, whatever the hell, for the rest of your menu. We'll go ahead and open up our menu. We'll notice that it pops up. We will click F, and we now have our submenu, and our options are working. Now here's something you're going to notice right off the bat. When you melee, nothing happens. You know why this is? Because we never set up a button bind for exiting the submenu. So all we have to do, because of the way we coded it before, you see how we did if self.submenu equals main blah blah blah. This logic's already handled now, so all we have to do is delete that and write self exec menu with no parameter, because if you remember, if the menu is not defined down in our exec menu, where is it? Back in our exec menu. Actually, that's a perfect place to use infinity loader. See, all I have to do is right click it and go to definition, and boom, we're here, which is pretty sweet because that allows us to not have to do all that scrolling. Anyway, you can see if this is not defined, we're just going to close the menu. So I will go ahead and go to definition here, scroll up, and this looks good to me. Check syntax. Syntax is good. Let me go ahead and inject again. Wonder if our project capacity shrinks. It does. Sweet. Okay. Go ahead and start the game. And we have our submenu. We melee, we get out, and we can close it. Cool. Alright, so we've got submenu set up. Now there is one thing that I want to mention, and this is going to be handled in the next video, where we basically do a polishing pass, where we go through and add some effects to the menu. We're going to fix the bug where when you first go into a menu, or you first go into a new option, the slider like drags across the screen. I really don't like that, and I know how to fix it. So we're going to fix that, and then we are going to add some extra touches because this menu is pretty dull right now, in my opinion. Functionally speaking, it's a complete menu base at this point, but the visuals are a little lacking, so we're going to add some cool stuff to it in the next video. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like. Let me know in the comment section below. Go ahead and share it with your friends, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.